Hello and welcome to the program. We're certainly glad to have you with us today. We're covering developing stories happening here in the United States as well as around the world. And we'll get you caught up on all of it. But first, a look at the latest headlines. A top Russian general in charge of the country's nuclear and chemical weapons has been assassinated by a bomb hidden in an electric scooter in Moscow. Ukraine has claimed responsibility for the killing. Ukraine's military intelligence services and the Pentagon confirmed that several North Korean troops have been killed while fighting on behalf of Russia. Kyiv-linked accounts share photos of at least 30 North Korean troops killed on the front lines. Diplomatic delegations to interact with the new Syrian leadership in Damascus. The two European nations become the first countries to send their officials to Syria after Bashar al-Assad's ouster. A powerful 7.3 magnitude earthquake hits the Pacific island nation of Vanuatu, leaving several dead and hundreds of buildings damaged. A 24-hour-long tsunami watch has been issued for neighboring Australia and New Zealand. And TikTok's request to the U.S. Supreme Court to block a law passed by Congress. The law, which passed in April, requires TikTok's China-based parent company ByteDance to sell the short video platform by January 19th or face a nationwide ban. We begin in the Middle East, where the Yemen-based Houthis launched a hypersonic ballistic missile at Israel, sparking a major escalation in the region. The missile was launched from an undisclosed location near Yemen's capital and traveled nearly 1,500 miles before it was intercepted over Tel Aviv. However, according to the Iran-backed Houthis, the missile, which has been codenamed Palestine 2, hit the intended target in Tel Aviv.
The missile force carried out a military operation targeting a military target of the Israeli enemy in the occupied area of Jaffa using a hypersonic ballistic missile, type Palestine 2. The operation successfully achieved its objectives by grace of Allah. Houthi armed forces continue to carry out military operations and strike all targets belonging to the Israeli enemy in the occupied territories, and these operations will not stop until the aggression against Gaza is halted and the blockade lifted.
Now, this is the first time the Houthis launched a missile at Israel, and the United States and Israel worked together to track the trajectory of the missile right from the moment it was launched from Yemen. The weapon is estimated to have reached nearly Mach 16, which is 16 times the speed of sound before it maneuvered at high speeds towards Tel Aviv. However, a quick and coordinated response by the U.S. and Israel helped in intercepting the ballistic missile before it caused any serious damage.
Just so you know, so I can share with you precisely what happens. The air raid siren went off. We have 1.5 minutes to get to shelter. Myself and my colleagues did just that. And that means not just me here working in Israel, but every single person living in this area. So that's millions of people, children, mums, dads, old people having to run to shelter because of this Yemeni missile. Yemenis and the Houthis in particular should understand very, very well, as the Houthis understand, and as Hezbollah understand very well, as Hamas understand very well, that Israel's patience is not inexhaustible.
Now, following the Houthi ballistic missile launch, the United States activated its forces in the region. Aircraft and warships of the United States Central Command launched coordinated attacks against the Houthis in Yemen. The U.S. Air Force carried out multiple precision strikes against key command and control facilities that were being operated by the Iran-backed proxies. Now, unlike Hezbollah and Hamas, the Houthis have in fact not stopped attacking Israel and have carried out multiple drone strikes on Tel Aviv in recent days. The Yemeni group also targeted at least 2 U.S. Navy warships in the Red Sea just last week. Iran has already lost a key ally in Syria and is now turning up the heat against Israel by emboldening the Houthis to launch ballistic missiles. However, it remains to be seen whether these attacks are pushing millions of Yemeni people towards war, as Israel and Washington threaten to completely destroy the military capabilities of the Houthis. And here in the United States, President-elect Donald Trump has lost a bid to overturn his criminal conviction in the historic hush money case. On Monday, New York Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan said that the conviction is valid even after Donald Trump's reelection. Now, this comes as the president-elect's lawyers argue the case should be dismissed in the wake of a landmark ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court. In July, the top court ruled that U.S. presidents have broad immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts in office. But Justice Merchan says that the incoming president's conviction in the hush money case is centered on unofficial conduct. In his 41-page ruling, the Manhattan judge added, not everything that a president does from the Oval Office is official. According to Justice Merchan, evidence suggests Donald Trump's act of falsifying business records was personal, which cannot qualify for immunity. Notably, the conviction stems from Donald Trump's attempt to hide reimbursements to his former lawyer Michael Cohen in 2016 during the presidential campaign. Cohen paid off adult film star Stephanie Clifford, professionally known as Stormy Daniels, to buy her silence about a sexual encounter with Trump in 2006.
Giving the committee today a copy of the $130,000 wire transfer from me to Ms. Clifford's attorney during the closing days of the presidential campaign that was demanded by Ms. Clifford to maintain her silence about her affair with Mr. Trump. And this is Exhibit 4 to my testimony. Mr. Trump directed me to use my own personal funds from a home equity line of credit to avoid any money being traced back to him that could negatively impact his campaign. And I did that too, without bothering to consider whether that was improper, much less whether it was the right thing to do or how would it impact me, my family, or the public. And I am going to jail in part because of my decision to help Mr. Trump hide that payment from the American people before they voted a few days later. As Exhibit 5A to my testimony shows, I am providing a copy of a $35,000 check that President Trump personally signed from his personal bank account on August 1st of 2017, when he was President of the United States, pursuant to the cover-up, which was the basis of my guilty plea to reimburse me, the word used by Mr. Trump's TV lawyer, for the illegal hush money I paid on his behalf.
Now, Donald Trump has always denied any wrongdoing during the trial. However, in May, a jury found him guilty on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, making him the first former or sitting U.S. president to be criminally convicted.
A judge who's highly conflicted. You know what the confliction is. Nobody wants to write about it, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I do, he said, I get put in jail. So we'll play that game a little bit longer. We won't talk about it.
Donald Trump was originally scheduled to be sentenced in July, but that was postponed twice. Now, the former president has filed another motion to dismiss the case altogether, citing his return to the White House. Now it's all up to Justice Merchan to decide whether to issue a sentence on Donald Trump, which could mean possible consequences when, in fact, Donald Trump leaves the White House. And staying in the United States, Elon Musk doesn't have the highest level of security clearance needed to access details about sensitive government programs that his company is involved in. According to a Wall Street Journal report, the payload SpaceX launches for the U.S. military and spy agencies are treated as top government secrets. These secrets are only shared with select SpaceX employees who hold special security clearances, and Musk is not one of them. The report says that the special government authorization for Musk is unlikely due to his contacts with foreign nationals and alleged drug use. In October, the Wall Street Journal reported that the billionaire has been in secret contact with Russian leader Vladimir Putin since 2022.
As for private business, Elon Musk, he is undoubtedly an outstanding person. It must be admitted. I think the whole world admits it. He is an active, talented businessman. He does a lot of things, including with the support of the United States. From our side, we are willing to develop this support for private businesses in Russia. In Roscosmos, such decision that had been already supported by government was made. We've already attracted private investors in this field of activities, and quite successfully.
Now, in 2018, Elon Musk appeared in a podcast interview with Joe Rogan where he smoked marijuana and an illegal drug under federal law. In January, reports emerged that Musk uses several other illegal drugs, including LSD, cocaine, ecstasy, ketamine, and psychedelic mushrooms. The world's richest man, whose net worth recently exceeded $400 billion, currently hosts the second highest level of government clearance. He secured the clearance in 2022 after a process that took years due to his episode with Joe Rogan. Now, the existing clearance gives Musk access to some confidential information, but it's not enough to get him hands on details about SpaceX's spy satellite program, Starshield. Musk is also not allowed to enter SpaceX facilities where classified work is done and discussed.
Most of the stuff that I'm aware of, the reason to keep it top secret is it's so boring. We don't want to give exact instructions on how to make a nuclear bomb or something like that. But unless there's a genuine risk to the country, all the information in the government should be public.
SpaceX lawyers think that if the company sought the highest level of clearance for Musk, he might be turned down and stripped of the clearance that he currently holds. However, none of this would matter if Donald Trump allowed Musk to access government secrets once he takes office. In fact, Donald Trump as president will have the power to control the flow of national security information, and with Musk being appointed as an advisor to cut federal spending, he might just get the clearance from Donald Trump to access the most confidential information without a proper background check. And now to Canada, where Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland's shocking resignation has thrown Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's leadership into complete disarray. What began as a clash over economic strategy has now spiraled into an all-out crisis. Prime Minister Trudeau is facing mounting rebellion from within his own party as calls for his resignation continue to grow louder. With a ballooning deficit, rising cost of living, and Donald Trump breathing down Canada's neck, Prime Minister Trudeau's grip on power has never looked weaker. We bring you more on this unfolding drama.
Canada's political crisis took a dramatic turn on Monday as Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland dropped a bombshell, her resignation. Citing irreconcilable differences with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Freeland's departure exposes the crumbling foundations of Trudeau's increasingly fragile cabinet.
When people feel their economic future is in jeopardy, when they believe their children have fewer opportunities than they themselves had in their youth, that's when people are vulnerable to the demagogue who scapegoats the outsider, the other, whether it's immigrants at home or trading partners abroad.
Now, with Trudeau's minority government already hanging by a thread, Trudeau knew he had to act. But he also knew he had to act faster. So, hours after Freeland resigned, Trudeau, from his inner circle, chose Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc as the new Finance Minister of Canada.
I, Dominic LeBlanc, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will be truly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Finance and Intergovernmental Affairs.
But even after what Trudeau considered a swift move, Freeland's departure triggered chaos within the Liberal Party, and 5 sitting Liberal MPs openly demanded his resignation. Helena Jasek, MP from Markham-Stouffville, didn't mince her words.
Let's put it this way, firing the Minister of Finance who has served you extremely well is not what I'd call a trustworthy move.
Anthony Housefather, MP from Quebec, speaking to the CTV network, In as many words, even explained that Trudeau's shelf life was over.
Incumbents have a certain shelf life in a social media age. I believe the Prime Minister has passed that shelf life.
Opposition leaders wasted no time sharpening their knives too. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre called for an immediate election, declaring everything is spiraling out of control. While on the other hand, Canada's new Democratic Party leader and former Trudeau ally Jagmeet Singh also called on the Prime Minister to resign.
Today I'm calling on Justin Trudeau to resign. He has to go. Right now Canadians are struggling with the cost of living. I hear it everywhere I go. People cannot find a home that they can afford. They can't buy their groceries. And on top of that, we have Trump threatening tariffs at 25%, which put hundreds and thousands of Canadian jobs at risk. And instead of focusing on these issues, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are focused on themselves. They're fighting themselves instead of fighting for Canadians. And for that reason, today I'm calling on Justin Trudeau to resign. He has to go.
Trudeau's approval ratings also tell the tale of his fall. From a soaring 63% when he first swept into power in 2015, his numbers have nosedived to a humiliating 28% this year. And Canadians are losing patience. The Prime Minister's failure to tackle inflation, rising living costs and a housing crisis has left many questioning his leadership. As if the domestic revolt wasn't enough, US President-elect Donald Trump poured salt onto Trudeau's wounds. In his signature provocative style, Trump was seen mocking Trudeau on social media, referring to him as Governor of Canada, implying Canada's economic subordination to the United States. Her behavior was totally toxic and she will not be missed, Trump declared of Freeland, twisting the knife deeper. The president-elect's threats to impose a punishing 25% tariff on Canadian imports has left Trudeau scrambling for solutions. One resignation at a time, Trudeau's inner circle is crumbling. The once charismatic leader now looks like a man cornered. His party is revolting, Trump is looming, and Canadians are growing restless.
And finally, out of the United Kingdom, British royal Prince Andrew's latest scandal has once again rocked the monarchy. The Duke now finds himself entangled in allegations involving a suspected Chinese spy, as British intelligence agencies raise the alarm over Beijing's increasing influence within British society. With King Charles struggling to contain the damage and anti-monarchy voices growing louder, our final report exposes deeper cracks within the royal family.
Many people believe that Prince Andrew was the late Queen Elizabeth's favourite child. However, the Duke of York has seen a sharp fall in prominence over the last 10 years due to a string of controversies. From being accused of spending weeks at sex offender and financier Jeffrey Epstein's Florida mansion, to now being accused over alleged ties to a suspected Chinese spy, Prince Andrew is now added to the list of the UK's most controversial royal. Due to the spiralling controversies, the Duke of York will not join the royal family for Christmas dinner this year, isolating him further from his royal siblings. The scandal erupted when Yang Tengbo, also known as Chris Yang, was banned from the UK by MI5. Officials flagged him as a security risk due to his alleged efforts to infiltrate British society.
I welcome the court's decision to uphold the Home Office's position on Yang's exclusion, and where individuals pose a threat, as you would expect, the UK government is absolutely committed to using the full range of powers available to disrupt them.
Yang, described as a businessman, attended high-profile events over the past 15 years, mingling with political heavyweights like David Cameron and Theresa May. He was even present at Prince Andrew's birthday party in 2020 and reportedly visited Buckingham Palace on invitation. Though Yang has publicly denied any wrongdoing, calling the espionage accusations entirely untrue, his relationships with influential figures have triggered serious concerns. Intelligence agencies have long warned of Beijing's expansionist agenda and its push for influence within the West. Yet, the involvement of Prince Andrew makes this scandal particularly alarming.
Young Tim at age 6 was in fact not a lone wolf. He was one of some 40,000 members of the United Works Department, which the Intelligence Security Committee report last year said, and I quote, "and known to government, had penetrated every sector of the UK economy, spying, stealing intellectual property, influencing and shaping our institutions."
Now, even though the Duke of York insists that he severed all ties with Yang as soon as security concerns were raised, his history of associations with questionable individuals continues to haunt him and tarnish the monarchy's reputation.
The cleanest and quickest way to solve a problem like Prince Andrew would be for him to do, if you like, the best thing, the most honourable thing, and that is to step back entirely from public life. What we're witnessing at the moment is him grabbing headlines yet again, and unfortunately casting a pall over the otherwise sort of positive work that other members of the family have been engaged in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
As explained by the historian, the disgraced Duke has become a burden for the royal family, one that King Charles III is struggling to manage. Once second in line to the throne, Andrew now occupies an increasingly irrelevant position, and critics, including Republican group Republic, have called for a full parliamentary inquiry into the royals' dealings.
When a Chinese spy befriends a royal, they want access to the British state. We must know if the royals have given them what they want.
Now, despite calls for his retirement, Andrew clings to privileges that many see as undeserved. He refuses to vacate the lavish 30-room royal lodge, a decision that strains his relationship with Charles. The king's attempts to sideline his brother and minimize the monarch's embarrassment continue to remain ineffective. This scandal isn't just a royal failure, it exposes Britain's growing struggle to counter foreign influence, particularly from China. Prince Andrew may be a fallen royal, but his story is a cautionary tale about power, privilege, and misplaced trust.
That's our show for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you back here again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Donald Trump's return to the Oval Office is imminent. He will soon take the oath of office and once again lead the nation.
God spared my life for a reason.
President-elect Donald Trump's first priority tackling illegal immigration and securing the nation's borders.
We're going to fix our borders.
The incoming administration has prioritized the Russia-Ukraine war. Can they succeed in ending one of the world's most challenging conflicts?
I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled.
And as he returns to the White House, will Donald Trump resume a bruising trade war with the world's second largest economy, China?
If China or some other country is behaving badly, we have things called tariffs.
All of this and more right here on Firstpost America.